Welcome! E aí, galera, beleza? Bem-vindo à nossa comunidade.
Welcome to our community.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is OGC here. Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we are joined by none other than the one and only Taint, and we are going to be doing State of the Game for Art of Conquest for May. So in this segment, we like to address things that Lilith are doing really good at, and there are a bunch of things that Lilith is doing really good at, and we also want to talk about the changes to that we would like to see in the game, similar to like the developers' feedback or just feedback from players at different levels. So it makes sense to have Taint with us and us for like the early game stuff. So Taint, welcome, man.
Thanks, bro. It's good to be here.
All right, so the first thing that we'll kind of go over or cover in the background, I'll pull up Dual Tower just so that we can see, just so that we can kind of see some of the race stuff. But race balancing and what constructive criticism could you offer to Lilith as far as finding some level of balance amongst races for PvP?
I think for PvP, Human and Rakan are in a good place. They're both strong. They're both viable. I think for Lich, their front line, they rely too heavily on the tag of the Warlocks to win the game. And I feel like that's a major flaw. So I think they should add either to an existing hero a Scorpion Mastery to make Scorpions stronger as a frontline unit, or add a hero to boost Scorpions, because right now it's like you can use them, but they just don't quite meet the mark as far as survivability. And then skeletons are still very flimsy, so you don't have a very good front line to use with Lich. So you gotta hope you can tag a dragon and kill it in the first like 10 seconds, or you're kind of screwed.
That makes a lot of sense, Ian. I just have to ask because there's the rumors of like a new race potentially coming out. Which would you rather see? I have my own opinion, but which would you rather see? A new race come out or to make more troops viable to use for the current existing races?
I think they need to fix the troops for every race that we have now and make them all viable. They don't all have to be PvP, superstars, but they need to be usable in some way in the game before they add a new race. Like nobody uses ninjas, nobody uses mummies really, or spiders. Tanks, miners, blasters for dwarf are basically useless. Sylph, nobody uses the deer anymore, or even their archers. It's basically tree shrooms and mana drakes. Like, I feel like they should make it to where you can viably use each unit a race has before they add a whole new race and just confound the problem.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. I'm in the same school of thought as you because if more than half of the troop types out there are currently like just not usable at all, then there's no point in making a new race when so many races have a ton of different options. Like allow spiders to like teleport to random spots on the battlefield, like a jumping spider. That's completely satire, but it's there's so much stuff in the game that's not being taken advantage of. They don't need to reinvent the wheel here.
Yeah. And then for like the siege units, I think they should remove the siege units from the game. They're just not viable. In the game that they have created to this point, like nobody, even in the early servers, like there's no point in using the siege units. They cost a ton of resources to make. They take forever to build, and when they get blown up, they're gone permanently. There's no chance to recover those. So like there's just so many negatives to using them over using troops. So I think they could replace the siege units with like the special units that we see. So like the minigun for dwarf, the nymph unit for sylph. Human could get like the archers on horseback or the centurions. Each race could use one of those specialty units that we've seen before, but we don't actually have access to.
I love that idea. Now, on to the next big topic, and um, I'll ease into this one so that Tane can explain it the most. But it is the Void and Dragon's Abyss. What I will say with the Void is I am cast level 33. I'm currently on stage 120. I can complete the stage, I cannot perfect it, which means that as far as just normal progression, if I wanted to, I could easily be in the 120s, and I don't even have troop equipment unlocked already. Granted, the game has changed a lot since the Void first came out, but as far as changes or maybe additions to the Void and Dragon's Abyss, what's your thoughts, Saint?
They need to do Void and Dragon Abyss more frequently. The fact that it's been almost a year since we've had new Void stages or Abyss stages, but they've added like 10 new ways to pay to win is ridiculous. I want new Void stages at a minimum and Abyss every 6 months. They don't all have to have brand new items to craft. They can just have regular rewards. But the Abyss and the Void should be a continual thing, and they should get complicated and difficult and give us something to strive for and unlock like a new border or a new portrait when you beat them. But the fact that we're waiting 12 months for Void stages that most of us complete in about 2 to 3 months is ridiculous. It's literally just Lilith being lazy.
I agree, and for the people that are not huge with PVM or I'm sorry, not huge with PvP, but prefer more PVM. Like there's a lot of fun and challenging portions of the Void, and so we're not even on a server merge yet. We have not gone to Drake yet, and when it comes to the Void, the first person on our server, which is like a 3622 server, is already on Void stage 166. So that should say a lot about the level of challenge for the Void, especially with all of the new pay-to-win content, like Taint was talking about. Like the pets totally threw the Void off balance, and then that guy is kind of a whale. But even in second, third, and fourth place, they're all up above the 140s. So even if there is no more Voids at this point in time, people on relatively new servers that have not even merged yet are going to complete the Void, and then the Void is just going to be something to do every day for rewards.
I agree. Like, there's no reason that we shouldn't get new Void stages every 6 months at a minimum. Same thing with the Dragon Abyss. The Dragon Abyss is fun. It should be challenging. Honestly, I want it to be hard. It should be hard for everyone. And you know what? It would be fair if they made it scale to your core, so it got a little bit harder if you're stronger. That way, lower level players don't feel locked out. But like, they're completely missing that entire aspect of the game, and like all the players who really like that aspect, like the challenge of beating a really difficult level or figuring things out. Like they could add, where they can restrict the kind of heroes that you can use. So like you got to complete a stage with only sages or only gladiators, so you're not used to having the crutch of all of your best heroes to beat a stage. There's a lot of things they could do to spice it up, make it more difficult, and put stages out more frequently.
I agree. In speaking of Dragon's Abyss and or dragons in general, this is something that I've been thinking about a little bit ever since I did like that early game, mid game, late game type of dragon, and it was disappointing to me to get to the late game portion, and it pretty much just has dragons pegged in a hole in the sense of Azur. Azur just being totally dominant, especially later on. And I get it, there's the healing meta, and meta's changed in everything, but early on for a research dragon, it really doesn't matter the type of dragon. But mid game, I feel like there's so many different variations between like the ruby with the conflagration can wipe out backlines. Emerald, I suppose, is decent with its tranquility and call to the wild. Of course, Onyx is going to be super strong. Azur isn't quite there. Topaz is actually pretty good unless your enemy has 109 affliction. So I feel like mid game there's a lot of possibilities as far as your dragon selection, but as soon as you hit the end game, all of a sudden it just becomes a cookie cutter, one size fits all. So what could be done to possibly change the end game dragon meta?
So normally I'm not an advocate for putting broken stuff into the game, but this is somewhere where I would like to see Lilith introduce just absolutely broken stuff for the Ruby and the Topaz Dragon. Make them OP, make them super strong, shake up the meta, make people use different stuff. There's no reason that the Topaz and the Ruby Dragon should be basically unusable for the last 3 years. Like Topaz was usable for like a blink of an eye when Draconic was first introduced to the game, and then since then it's been unusable. Ruby, they changed some of the skills about maybe 9 months ago to a year ago. They changed some of the skills, and we had hope that it might be usable. We were wrong. It's still garbage. Like, I don't care if they like completely make Azure a weak dragon or whatever it may be. Like, I would love to finally see a red or a yellow dragon in PvP and not be like, oh, I feel bad for you because you have a bad dragon.
GGWP. Well, and who knows what the next greater dragon ability is? Maybe it has something that drastically
It'll just
reduces.
it'll just go on an Azure dragon like every other ability, and we'll call it a day. Unless it somehow makes Noble Blood obsolete, it's just not going to change anything. Because not only does Noble Blood heal, but it gives you built-in damage resistance, so you're getting extra damage resistance.
Gotcha. So basically, Lilith, please break rubies. Please break topaz dragons. Make them super strong. I really do think that for the topaz dragon, if you just made the lightning rods target heroes only, it might not be enough by itself, but like that's a really good starting point.
Yeah, I agree. Something's got to change with those two dragons because they're just like you hatch a red or a yellow egg, even a green egg. Most honestly, like you hatch any of those three colors, and you're just like, well, it's infusion material. You don't even look at what it is. You just like infuse it.
Gotcha. Now on to some of the really cool stuff. I have to say, I am loving this Elite Trials thing that's out there. All of the events that are similar to Elite Trial, where they're the newer events, it gives a good amount of Lunari. The amount of renown I also love with it all. So they are doing some absolutely awesome stuff with the events, and I think since the last time we did the State of the Game video, I think that there was also another new event I'm blanking on the name for it, but so far I have to give the thumbs up. Lilith seems like they're doing awesome with events.
Yeah, there's a lot of really like new good events they're putting out. They have good rewards. You know, another infusion of Lenari. The one that gives renown is awesome. Like renown was really hard to get and like really tedious. And I've been playing a long time, so like for newer servers, getting your like specialty sets to be flawless is just like not realistic. Like it would take so much time without this event. So speaking of which, I completed that event Elite Trials this morning. I got my 1200-ish renown, and then I transferred servers and did it again. So I got like 2400 renown and 2400 Lenari, which was awesome.
Next level stress right there. I need to remember that for transferring. Yeah, and it gives you a like the lead trial just in particular. It still gives you a really good amount of just like random mats that you'll need. Like 16,000 Dragon Dust is no joke. 2.5 thousand Astral Stones, 25,000 Forge Fire, and a bunch of EXP cards. Awesome event. I do feel like, and I'm not going to remember the name of it, but there was another new event that came out too, and I just thought it was cool. And the small things like that face off, like the face off thing's pretty unique, but it's also not it's not a bad way to earn a couple extra Lunari. It requires people to look at formations, look at builds. And I think anytime that people can look at that stuff and spend any amount of time doing their own research, they have the ability to learn. So the face-off thing seems like it's great as well. This month, it doesn't seem like we have too many criticisms or constructive feedback. I'm sure that there's still stuff from the previous month that can always be great to fall back on. I think the big takeaways is racial balance, to get more races involved in PvP, along with making more of the troop types usable, as opposed to focusing on like creating a new race, which just it doesn't make sense when it realistically probably 60% of the troop types are just not even viable. And then buff topaz, buff rubies. Make them so that they're super broken, super strong. The ruby one should really pump out way more damage. Like it's a fire dragon. In every game, every lore, like the red dragon's like that big scary one that does all sorts of damage.
Yeah, normally, but in Art of Conquest, it's like a joke.
Yes, and then events. Please keep doing awesome events that can benefit people from all walks of life. So, with that, unless you have anything else to add, Taint, we can call this the state of the game for May 2021.
Yeah, man, I'm good.
All right, well, thank you guys for watching. Please take a moment, smash the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. As always, down in the in the description of the video, we have a bunch of cool stuff like our Facebook group. We have a direct donation thing. Minimum, I'm stepping up our game. At least 2% of the total amount of stuff donated will be given back to the community. The other 98% is going to go to Foxtrot's food because he's adorable. So with that, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow.